Okay, I can just tell this is gonna be a feisty one because what I'm about to talk about is kind of crazy. Like last night, I saw a post where it was talking about because I believe in the Book of Mormon, I can't fully believe in the church. And that blew my mind because of all the things that I've been going through in my struggles with the church. It was like, that is it. That is literally it. I believe in the church. I believe in the doctrine, just not the cultural and some of the weird ritualistic things about it. And I don't know. I'm hungry. I was like, what if the Book of Mormon is true, but the church isn't? I was like, I've never allowed myself to even think that before. And once I did, it was just it just all started making sense. I was like, is there a church that believes in the Book of Mormon, perhaps, that doesn't have all these weird things that our church has? And I did my research and comes to find out there is. Bet you didn't expect that one, because most people in the church don't even know about this organization, or it's just not talked about a lot, because a lot of what it represents kind of destroys the whole narrative of the LDS church. And I just want to give a disclaimer to this, because I'm not saying I believe this right now, but it's just something I'm kind of theorizing right now, because the thoughts on it are kind of crazy, and my mind just rambles on it because I'm connecting so many dots when it comes to it. So I guess we'll just see how this goes. The organization I'm talking about, let me just check my camera real quick. Okay, we're good. The organization I am talking about is the RLDS, or Community of Christ, or also the full abbreviation is called the Restored Gospel, or the Restored Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, yeah. So the history of that is, after Joseph Smith died, they were trying to figure out who the next prophet was. And Joseph Smith had said that it would be in his family, but I think I've also heard that he did tell Brigham Young that he would probably be the next prophet. And I have a lot of things going on with this whole part, because many things can be true, but also many things cannot be true, so just bear with me here. I'm feeling so Brigham Young was all about polygamy and trying to continue Joseph Smith's work, and that means adding more to the church. Whereas the other one, this is where the RLDS originated. It was Joseph Smith the Third. It was either some kind of relative, a brother, nephew, son. I don't think he had kids. But anyways, basically the RLDS disagreed with the whole polygamy thing, because it contradicts the Book of Mormon. I'll just say that. And so Brigham Young took his people and they went off to find a new Zion. And that's where I'm feeling did they just have a disagreement and Brigham Young just wanted to be right and ran off? Or did RLDS just want to be the leaders because they had priority because they're the relative of Joseph Smith. I honestly don't know. And there's a thing about how there can be more than one prophet at once too. So they could have been both right, but they still split off anyways because they had disagreements, obviously. And the thing I'm running into is a lot of the things that we practice in the LDS church were added on after Joseph Smith. Yeah, he got sold to a bunch of people, but he didn't practice full polygamy. That didn't start until Brigham Young. And maybe that was just Brigham Young thinking he was being inspired and, like, yeah, the church could still be true, but I'm just really thinking about this here. Where I have, like, so many theories in my brain right now. I'm, like, trying to think of which one to start with. But I'm just thinking, what if the RLDS church is the more correct one, but the LDS church, like, always has convinced us that they are true? Because the way we always say, this is the true church, yada yada, and the way that we never really talk about RLDS and the history of that, we just say, oh yeah, Brigham Young was inspired and decided to go pilgrim to wherever. And I feel like both could have been led by God. Like, if Brigham Young by chance was in the wrong, he could have just been like, okay, you're not correct, but I'll still use you for something. And he used it to expand the church to the other side of the Americas, or the U.S. And like, maybe he saw the potential of Brigham Young's movement in its ability to gather people together, because you see how the RLDS is very small comparatively to the Mormon church, the LDS church. I'm going to keep saying RLDS just because it's shorter to say, but it's the correct term is Community of Christ. I'm just, like, really exploring this right now because I'm kind of curious to go check out the Community of Christ church to see if I feel more of a spirit there. Because for me, it feels kind of right now like Brigham Young just created a new Zion when Missouri was supposed to be Zion from the start. And I've actually been to Missouri. I went and saw Nauvoo and stuff, and we went to Adamonte-Almond. And I'll just tell you, when I was on those grounds, I felt the more spirit there and more peace there than I've ever felt at any temple. So I don't know what that says for you guys, but that means something to me. I know there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with me on this whole video, so I'm just going to say that this is what I'm feeling right now about the church. I'm not saying I fully believe it yet, but it's, like, definitely something I'm considering. And it's kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like after thinking this way, I feel so much clarity and peace, and I feel like I've kind of found the answer for myself. And I keep wanting to be like, oh, just the LDS church is bad, but maybe that's not necessarily the truth, because maybe some people are meant to be in the more structured side of the church, and then there's the RLDS, which I haven't talked about how they believe, where they believe everything we believe, just without all the weird rituals that came when Brigham Young became a prophet. They don't do like they still do ordinances in the temple, but they don't like have baptisms for the dead. They don't have like all these separate rooms. Like, it's pretty much all one room or just like 2 or 3 rooms. And the way that Joseph Smith originally built the temple, he was like, this is how the temple's supposed to be built. And its original intent was just to be a room you can sit in, basically built like a chapel where you can feel peace in it. And when I remember I walked into the Nauvoo temple and I felt a lot of peace there, so I'm not going to completely deny that either. My point here is, like, Joseph Smith is true. Is Brigham Young and the whole LDS Church necessarily true, and am I feeling that way right now? Not necessarily. And that's just where I am at on my journey right now. And I have a lot to ponder on it. And I think I'm going to try exploring the RLDS Church a little bit. I have done some stuff on it. I went to their website and I read, they literally have a list of all their beliefs. There was nothing on there that I disagreed with. And they have the original Book of Mormon that Joseph Smith first put together. Something about that to me is kind of powerful. And I'm not saying they're the true church either. I'm just saying I'm willing to explore it, because I hate the idea of the LDS Church where there's this whole feel of, like, don't question, don't research, don't explore your spirituality, because that's what makes the church feel like a cult. And I think something that's so powerful about the church is that the doctrine is true. It's just not necessarily the right practices, and that's where I'm feeling it is at right now. It's not, yeah. I'm just saying that's where I'm at right now. I'm not completely there, but I think it's something we should all consider a little bit. And this, I'm just gonna say right now, this video is only gonna work for people who are open-minded and willing to think about the gospel in fullness according to God and the Book of Mormon and everything that he teaches us and Christ teaches us and everything that God intended for us. We really have to sit and think about it and ponder on it. Because I'm not saying that the whole LDS Church is illegitimate. There's a lot of good things about it. It's just, there's a lot of things that are a bit corrupt about it, in my opinion, and practices that shouldn't be allowed, and secret things that shouldn't happen. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that today, because I don't want to dig deeper into it. But yeah. I forgot I also want to talk about another topic of the Book of Mormon that I saw recently online about the Epstein files and such things like it, where there's like, you have stuff like this all around the world where is the Epstein files, well, like human trafficking and like a lot of bad wickedness going on. I saw a post that was like, the Epstein files were predicted by the Book of Mormon. In Ether 9, it talks about like secret combinations that will happen and wickedness. I realize wickedness is not just people just sleeping around, doing drugs, getting tattoos. Like, that's what you first think of when you're just like a brain rot Mormon. I don't even know what to call it. Like, just like kind of naive to the real world. But real wickedness is like things you can't even come up with, like assault and organized secrecy with a bunch of people, like stuff you can't even think of. And I think that's something we should think about, because that's kind of prophecy happening right now. So that's a little bit serious. And so yeah, that's just a little bit of my 2 cents on the whole Epstein Files thing. And I'm just going to leave it at that today, and I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen, because today's a spiritual topic, and I love you guys. Bye.